Welcome to Pay Attention, a podcast guiding you from the chaos of the mind to the clarity of the heart. Here's your host, Holly McNeill.
Hello and welcome. Good morning if you're on the West Coast, good afternoon on the East Coast, good evening if you're in Europe and anywhere else. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm living here in Southern California, but the rest of the country is feeling some really, really cold weather right now. And if you're in one of those places, let me tell you, I feel you. I spent over 50 years in the North. I'm from South Dakota originally. I think Minnesota, where I lived for 12 years, has got high temperatures in the teens today. And I've been in those nor'easters in New England. So hopefully you're inside and cozy and warm. But anyway, so glad that you decided to join us today. So a couple of months back, I had the opportunity to bring into the studio a woman who speaks my language. I just finished a class, my year-round mindful living course with a summary of what we're doing and what it's all about. And it's all about awareness, growing your awareness, being able to see your habits and patterns and defaults. And the very first step to that is creating the habit of watching the mind. Habits are everything. Habits are the way the mind changes, the way the brain works, the way connectivity in the brain happens, things you repeat over and over again. So today in the studio, I have this lovely, lovely lady who has created Happiness is a Habit. She also has a new book out. And we are speaking the same language. Such an important topic to understand and understanding how your mind works and how you can change it. Please sit back, stay warm, and enjoy this episode on Pay Attention. Hi, it's Holly McNeill, and welcome to another episode of Pay Attention. Today, I'm excited to talk about someone who is really in tune with how the brain learns, how the mind works, and how when you pay attention to it, you can really affect positive, amazing change in your life. So I'm going to introduce her right away, and then we're going to get into the topic of habits and paying attention and where you want to live your life from. So today I'm excited to introduce Michele Phillips. She's an author. She's got her own podcast. She's a speaker. She's helped tens of thousands of people. Welcome, Michele. Thank you so much for joining us on Pay Attention.
Thank you for having me, Holly. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, just a quick, 2 to 3 minute, how I've had people go on for hours. So we have lots to talk about. So give us a quick who you are and where you're coming from.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. I'll keep it short and sweet. As my subtitle says, I help people write their outcomes in their professional and personal lives. A lot of events happen in our lives that are out of our control, but how we respond and what we do with them is in our control. I am very excited. I'm celebrating my 25th year in business in August. I started Key Performance in August 2000, and I go into corporations. And I always say I'm kind of the bridge between the yoga mat and the boardroom or metaphysics. I take all these metaphysical tools and I make them palpable for corporate audiences. So I work 99% of the time with corporate folks, but we're all real people, helping them create their path versus just kind of waking up one day and saying, how did I get here? So in a nutshell, author, speaker, coach, podcaster, there's my quick spiel.
Thank you. I love that. And I've often wondered, I come from corporate America as an architect, and, now I'm very much into mindfulness. And so I love, talking about that bridge between the cognitive and kind of the spiritual, the metaphysical, and the manifestation power we have. We talked before we started recording. I have my practices, my more cognitive practices: pledge, evaluate, recognize, where you're paying attention to the mind. And then the spiritual practices, locate, open, invest, and expand, when you're really starting to see what's beyond your thoughts, emotions, and feelings. But everything is really about what you do over and over and over again, which is exactly what a habit is, right?
Yeah, what I love telling people about habits is they require no energy. You do them without thinking.
Yes, that's
So
right.
in
That's
my
right.
first book, I say, if all you did was eat an apple for the next 90 days, they
Yeah.
say it takes 20, they've changed the science, 21, 60 days to
Yeah,
form a
yeah.
habit.
21 days to kind of get it, 66 days on it. Yeah, I'm with you.
So I gave you 90. I go, let's say you eat an apple for the next 90 days.
Yeah.
Almost anyone, unless you're allergic to apples, can do that. After 90 days, it becomes something you do habitually without thinking.
Right.
And then if you add one other habit and another, in 5 years, if you do nothing but add one thing every 90 days,
Yeah.
you have 20 positive, powerful habits.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And the fact that it happens automatically, that the thing is that when we're not paying attention, we've got more than 20, right, negative habits that we've picked up over our lives, but we just take them on as our identity, our personality, because they're happening automatically and we don't question them and so forth. So yeah, I love that. And it doesn't take a lot of energy. It does it first, right? Because your brain's going to resist that change. It's trying to keep you safe. So many people give up right away on trying to change something. And what do you tell people about that?
Yeah, first of all, I tell people to choose something so easy in the beginning you can't fail. That's why I like the apple. Because we love to, I eat an apple every day we love to do what we say we're going to do, but when we don't, we beat ourselves up. So do something easy, and then even make it easy. Even if you're going to start a journaling practice or a meditation practice, what I tell my clients is I say, take a 30-day visual calendar and give yourself maybe an M every day you meditate. And if you don't meditate, there's no harsh critic. There's no, you did it wrong. It's just, I took a day off, and you start again. But then at the end of 30 days, you see, wow, I meditated 10 times this month. That's 10 more times than you did last month. So really start giving yourself credit for the movement you're making, not that you did it perfectly, because you set yourself up for failure.
That's right. Yeah, and it just takes small steps. I talk about 1 minute 6 times a day to take.
I like that.
Yeah, of watching the mind. Even if you only do it 3 times a day or 1 time a day, or forget for a couple of days. It's like you said. I tell people that thinking about going back to college or doing something change. It's like, if you don't do it in 5 years, you'll be right where you are. Yes. Right here. But and I'm remiss in telling you the title of your book is perfect. Happiness is a habit. I mean, that's exactly truth, right? And so the idea of doing something small and recognizing that you will meet with that resistance. That stuff will come up, that harshness, because those are the habits you currently have, right? And
that's what I love about your work, Holly, because thinking and processing is a habit.
Yeah.
So, our brains are set up to keep us safe. I always say they're not set up to keep us happy. So they're always did I say it right? Am I okay? Did I, am I rich enough, pretty enough, skinny enough, you name it, smart enough? So our brains are always kind of searching to keep us safe, where that's not a recipe for happiness.
No.
So it's really, you're almost overriding your reptilian brain to say, I ate an apple today. I'm proud of myself. It doesn't seem like a lot to you, but it does to me, because the last 60 days I didn't eat any apples.
Yeah, I love this. At first you have to do that, right? And eventually it'll happen automatically.
And realize the doubt and the falling down is part of the process. Nobody goes out and plays a perfect game of tennis or golf or skiing, I don't know, whatever your sport is. You fall down, you make mistakes. So it's the same with your thinking. I almost call it puppy training, because it's like, you got to bring your mind back to present over and over, and be gentle with yourself, not harsh.
Yeah. And we often do. I've heard the 3 reasons why habits fail. One is that we take on too much, right? Too much. So definitely keep it small. I can't remember the second one. And the third one is, you need to change your environment or something like that. But yeah, keep it small and give yourself, credit for what you've done. And eventually it just takes those little changes. I've talked about it's like an ocean liner, and it's heading in one direction, and you can't turn an ocean liner around, overnight. It's just a slow move and slow, small, recognition of what you've done.
So to go back to what you said before about, and now I lost my thought. Oh my God, what did you say before? You said something before. I don't know, but I was going to say, and if you don't get the degree, you're still going to be, in 5 years, you're still going to arrive there. So you said that earlier. So if we do the same thing, I want everyone listening right now to imagine they had 20 new positive, powerful habits. What would your life look like in 5 years? And that's only from doing one simple thing every 90 days. I really want to stress that this doesn't have to be difficult. You made a really good point also that we take on too much, one thing at a time, little by little, but you're always moving ahead versus the person that's not doing anything or the person that gives up.
Yeah, Schott, you're preaching to the choir, and I hope the listeners out there. I mean, I can just feel that energy here. And at first, again, because I came from a really low point. You talked about having your business for 25 years. That's wonderful. That's amazing. I spent 20 some years crawling out of a lot of negative habits that came from a really, really low point. And unfortunately, sometimes, I don't know why we have to hit rock bottom before we start to look for that change. But at first I couldn't see, a way out, but I believed there had to be better, So just even putting that belief in motion started to unravel all of those negative thoughts and patterns that I have. So this works for everyone. This is how the mind works, right? So
I honor your journey. And I always tell everyone listening, every one of us has a very unique and special journey. Mm-hmm. And why one road goes this way and one road goes that way. And, I remember when I was going through my divorce, I would tell myself, you are a magnificent woman, worthy of great love. I had to convince myself, but the belief, like you said, like the belief that there's something better is that carrot that keeps you going, okay, I'm not settling for where I am because the belief is I'm worthy of something better.
Yeah. And then from the metaphysical side, you're actually attracting that, right? And things start to show up. And for me, it was very much a very teeny tiny step by step. And I know this is, in America, at least in Western, you want to get there, you want to get it done, but have patience with yourself. And if you falter, just keep going. And eventually you will start to see. Well, you and I have talked about, I talk about living in one camp or the other. You're either living entangled from your thoughts, making your choices from there, or you're living in awareness. You're seeing them and being able to look at them with the wisdom that comes through in the silence. Yeah. You've got a similar, I think you talked about your two personalities or
yes,
something.
I named, so, we all have these different voices in our head. We probably have more than two. I've named two. But when what you're saying, when you come to that awareness as these negative thoughts are rolling through your brain on repeat,
yes.
Right? What is it, like 72,000 thoughts a day, repeated negative thoughts?
That's right.
I named that, it's like the critic and the coach. So I named my critic Wanda, and Wanda is a bitch. I'm sorry, but she is horrible. She will rake me through the coals. She always is telling me I'm not good enough. I didn't do it right. I should beware or be careful or be afraid. And once I identified her as someone outside of me, it separated me.
Yeah.
So I tell this story.
When you were born, that intelligence was born. Wanda wasn't there, right? Right. We create that. But
we're taught, right, that we should do it a certain way to fit in.
And when we don't, we start to,
And my husband and I we have a little fun because when Wanda gets a hold of me, it's almost like she just takes me in a power hold that I feel her, but I can't shake her sometimes because she's so powerful.
Sometimes you can't.
And my husband will say to me, oh, Wanda's here. And just the identification makes it loosens the grip.
Right.
So Grace is my coach. She always thinks
Great.
I'm wonderful and I'm doing a great job. But
Yeah.
she's not as loud as Wanda.
Yeah, it's true. Right. Wisdom is quiet. And I practiced Buddhism for 5 years, and they talked about when when those things come up, instead of saying, I am angry, I am upset, because you do get caught in them and you can't get out. You can't, it's like getting into a bag and you can't find your way out. To imagine it as arising in your mind. Right? You're the architect of your world. You're creating this. So you're not these thoughts. You're not these habits, right? So just imagine them as arising in your mind, so you can create that distance, right? And see them for what they are. Question them. Why doesn't nobody ever question all these negative habits?
I wasn't taught any of this till my 30s, and I love
Exactly.
Mindfulness Architect. It's like, you're the boss of your house in here and you're building
That's
it.
right.
So what kind of house do you want? And if that brick is broken, it's not giving you what you want, chuck it and get a new brick. So I love the way you're using the Mindfulness Architect. Is this something I want in my garden, on my house, whatever it is?
Yes, exactly.
And realizing you have choice, and that's so, so powerful.
I was talking to my son and his girlfriend on the back patio just yesterday about this awareness, and just, I love it when the younger generation is kind of becoming aware of it. And why? I mean, hopefully by the end of this journey, I'll be able to get to the younger people, right? Why aren't we taught this in school? That habits, we have this powerful mind with which we can create a world, whatever we perceive or project, we perceive, or whatever we project, we perceive. I always get those mixed up. But and we can choose and we can question. And when you're a kid, you question everything. And then you take those parts of yourself that all of a sudden you're shocked when somebody says that, oh, don't do that or whatever. And you're all of a sudden there's shame and anger, resentment built up, fear of losing things. All of these things, again, are trying to keep you safe, but have well outlived their useful date, right?
Yeah, well, I see a shift happening, which makes me so happy. I mean, I don't know about education system, but I know in corporations, I work in finance industry a lot and in banking, and we're doing mindfulness classes. We're doing, this type of work in big corporations. So I always say I look for the believers, because this is an age of awakening. We are on the precipice of really fast moving energy.
Yeah,
And, those that know how to mold the energy and manage the energy of their thoughts, of their mind, are going to do well. And those that don't will spiral.
Right.
So it does warm my heart to know that I am doing this work. And the positive psychology research has come so far. I always say metaphysics, positive psychology, emotional intelligence, they're all catching up to each other, and they're,
and
even Einstein says, branches of the same tree.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Like you said, we could talk forever. And actually, it's not just emotional intelligence and and it's not just emotional intelligence and spirituality and mindfulness, but science is also catching up, right? They're seeing that at the subatomic level, quarks and leptons are like 10,000 times smaller than anything we thought was. It has no actual structure. These are just wavelets of possibility and energy. And so we as consciousness form that energy. And then it comes into the mind, and nerve cells that fire together, wire together. It's all very explainable, to kids or to, and I love that you're doing it in corporate America. And I think, people working in corporate America are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. And some of them feel like, how did I get here? Or I want more. And so I would imagine you find people that are more open and ripe to that.
When you put it in sensible terms and don't, people, I always say it's woo woo, but it's not woo woo. It's real.
Not woo woo.
It's science.
Like,
this
is
research.
How it works. Yes.
So when I go in and I'm very, all I say, I'm like, you try it on for 30 days and you be the judge. I guarantee you, if you apply what I'm teaching you, you will have a shift in how you feel. And that will give you a shift in your results.
100%.
So it might, it's trying it on, trying a new way.
Yeah.
And people are open to it. And I always say there always will be the doubters and the naysayers, but those that's not my audience.
Who's ready to hear you will find you. And to be honest, I have, like I said, my practices there's the PER is the more cognitive, and then the love is more spiritual. And at first I kind of just, because I didn't want people to think I'm too woo-woo, right? I stuck more in the pledge to make the habit of watching your mind, evaluate what you find there, recognize. But it's all connected. Like you said, our Einstein said, branches of the same tree. Everything points back to this. And again, like you said, it's provable now. And so to be able to go in and say, look, this is how it works, and this is what science says, and even quantum physics, and people, you still even have your doubters in science. They don't want to give up the idea that you can't see everything that's happening.
Well, that's where, the metaphors come in. And again, I always say, if you're stuck in materialism, that's been debunked also, right? Because when you break it down to the subatomic level, right, we're all made of the same thing.
That's right.
But I don't
all one.
need to know how to read music to know when the pianist hits the wrong note.
That's right.
So it's the same with us, right? When I'm going along my day driving, everything's good, and then I see a blue Toyota, and it reminds me of my ex-husband, or else I get that gut punch in my stomach, I know my emotions hit the rumble strips.
Yeah.
So it's teaching people that your emotions hit the rumble strips, and it's like, okay, you're going to go down that road, or are you going to realign your thoughts? And I'm sorry, my piece is falling out. That's what I really want to teach people is, knowing that you have certain things that trigger you, and it's your mind. It's not in the real life. Everything's fine. It's a beautiful sunny day
That's
still,
right.
But my mind just went back to a memory that hurt me.
Right.
And now I could spiral down in pain, or I could say, that's in the past, it's dry cement, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and I'm going to focus forward.
That's right. In the present moment, you can either, like you said, stay entangled in it. It will take you down the rabbit hole, and it will take you fast. So when that happens, it's okay. It happens. It's been happening for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, right? But when you can see it, when you catch it, it's that moment. I see what's happening, right? My mindset
That's the
changed.
beauty of, like I always say to my clients, when you start to laugh at things that would have set you off, know you're growing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Oh my God, a year ago, that would have put me down, the dumps
every
for 3
little
days.
piece at a time, every little moment, because every time you catch it, it doesn't fire that nerve cell, those neurons, and that connection weakens. And it takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes, again, at first I'm here for you, I love you, you got this, you're amazing. And eventually, I remember, my practice is 1 minute, 6 times a day. The first time I'm like, oh, I'm watching my thoughts. Instead of having to stop for 1 minute and watch my thoughts, like you said, I guarantee if you do that 1 minute, 6 times a day for, 90 days, you will be always watching your thoughts. You will always have that habit. And I
love it. And it's so simple. And you said something so important I want to go back to. You said, every time you see it, it weakens that connection.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what's so important. So whenever you see the negative thoughts, you're like, it's getting weaker. I'm getting stronger.
Yay. That's right. I love that. I love that. In fact, I was going to say, this conversation could go on forever, but what would be one, you've already given 2 or 3 great tips for the listeners today, but, what would you suggest somebody do, right? I guess eat an apple or just anything small, but when you first meet someone and especially somebody that's really low or really hurting, what would you tell that kind of listener?
Yeah, I'm going to give yours advice back. Someone that's really low and hurting, sometimes they're unreachable. So that's the thing too. You have to meet people where they are. And if someone's still going through a grieving process, that need to go through the grieving process.
And that's okay too, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But once you get to that, I believe it could be better.
Right.
Oh, now we got some energy, right? Think about the energy that gets behind that. Depression is like, no energy, I can't get out of bed, versus, I believe there's something here.
There's
so
something
it's
out there.
Knowing that depression, unless it's clinical, right? There's different types, or maybe you had the blues, you had a breakup, you lost someone, a job, a loved one, that it's temporary and that you have more power than you think. That's my takeaway.
Hi, and Michele, tell us, how did you get into all of this? How did you learn all of this? How did you?
I needed it myself. How else, Holly? No. I was doing sales training at Verizon Wireless early in my career, and I took a course. I think it was Brian Tracy, some older self-development
something showed up.
Guru. Yeah. And then I went back to school at Fordham. I gave a presentation, and this woman was like, "I want you to present to my people." And I was like, "Okay." But again, the universe delivered. Like when I look back now, my path was set for me. Nice. Everybody's path is set for them. Yeah. So it's really, I even encourage people to go chronicle your life and see what are the decades or the thirds of your life and the lessons you've gained, because we're all gaining something.
So much. My journey started right at 9/11 and ended at the COVID pandemic. And it was a 20-year circuitous route, right? And so I think you and I are both out here trying to help people not have to take that long a route, right? Your path, you're right. The path to awakening, awareness, to happiness, to openness is what everything's pointing back to. But it can be a long, long road if you're not paying attention and if you're stuck and you're lost and you're not believing. But yeah, once you start to see that or recognize, wow, yeah, there is more here for me. Yeah.
Can I tell a quick little fun story?
Please.
I always use this example. I read it in a book. I don't even remember what book, but it talked about Prince. When Prince started, he opened up for the Rolling Stones and he got booed off the stage. And when he got backstage, he said, "Oh, that's not my audience." And I always love that agency. He knows who he is.
Nice.
And that doesn't mean that nothing's wrong with him. It says he needs a new audience.
Nice.
So when we're not getting the results we want, it's like, do I need a new audience? You know, am I being my truest self, being true to myself? So
your truest self, supporting yourself, backing yourself. And then when you do that, you open up and the things show up that you need the new audiences or whatever. So Happiness is a Habit came out, 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, 2014 it came out.
That is amazing. And now you have a new book coming out. So tell us about that.
Oh, thank you for asking. So my new book has been 10 years in the making, Energize Your Happiness. So when I started, my first book is Happiness is a Habit, Mental, Physical, Spiritual, Emotional Habits.
Yes.
That get you on autopilot. And when I started using these habits, because once you write the book, then you have to be the poster child, I started getting in what I call this high frequency energy zone.
Yes.
I was calling it magic carpet days. Everything was going so well for extended periods of time. So this next book is teaching people how to get into that high energy zone.
The magic carpet.
Not just when you're climbing a mountain or on vacation, but when you're at your desk working, when you're having a fun interaction like this on, your podcast.
Yeah.
So really knowing you have control. All the stuff you're doing, Holly, we are singing to the choir.
Yeah.
But teaching people how to get there on a more normal basis versus once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. 1 minute, 6 times a day, just making it a habit, a day. You can make happiness a daily habit, right? It's a choice. So love it. We could go on forever. How do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach out to you?
The best, I have lots of sites, but energizeyourhappiness.com is my landing page that leads you to everything, all my social media, all my sites. So energizeyourhappiness.com will connect you.
Okay. Well, we will definitely put that in the notes. And this has been...
wait, I said it 2 different times, didn't I? Energizeyourresults.com, because I've got so many. Use that one. Energizeyourresults.com.
Results. Okay. Yeah, you did say energize your happiness. So energizeyourresults.com. Energizeyourresults.com. All right. And we'll put that in the notes. So you'll just have to click on it. And wow, this has been really joyful. I can feel the energy. So everyone, this energy is out there. It's yours. It's part of who you are. It's intuitively built in. You just have to kind of bring it out through small habits. Thank you so much, Michele, for joining me today. And I'm excited for people to reach out, to read your book. I love the name of the book, Happiness is a Habit, and energize your happiness. It's all a choice. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And thank you, listeners. I hope you got as much joy out of this conversation that I did. I'm always get really riled up when I hear, this is the way it works. This is how the mind works. And another chance to really get it out there that moment to moment you're making a choice consciously or unconsciously. So let's make the habit of finding happiness. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll join you on another episode of Pay Attention. Wow. So when we're doing this live, I'm in the background and I'm watching our recording, and hopefully, the guest can be with me. But today, Michele was going to join me, but she had something come up and had to be traveling today. But she did say thank you for coming on. Paying attention is really the game changer. So I'm sorry that she couldn't be here today because I am just so pumped. I sit in the background and I'm watching this. And it's just, yes, right on. I'm so excited when that energy of change, when that energy of understanding is flowing. And I really felt that in this episode with Michele today. I hope you did too. And I talked about that ocean liner, but what I loved it when she talked about was the rumble strips. In my teachings, I talk about the TEF highway, the thoughts, emotions, and feelings highway, and how, it's horns honking and people shouting and smells and smog. And that is how it can be in your head. But what you want to do is get off the highway, sit next to the highway, take a breath, right? And the more you do that, the more you make a habit of doing that, watching the highway. And, eventually you become more and more in that state of peace and calm. And then I love how she said, ultimately, you can have these magic carpet days, because a lot of it, we create our worlds in our heads. So I know it's around the holidays. If you're listening live, it can be a time of great joy for people. It can be a time where we do get stuck in those habits and go down that rabbit hole. So remember every day, at least 2 or 3 times a day, give yourself some compassion and understanding, love. Pick a small habit maybe in the new year. Here's what I want. I'm going to try this in the new year. I'm going to do something the same every day and just see what happens, because this is how it works, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today and for listening to me and Michele. It was such a lovely, lovely conversation. Happy holidays, and I will see you next week on Pay Attention.
Thanks for watching Pay Attention with Holly McNeill. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week on Wednesday at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern.